Christian author, speaker, and coach who wants to learn how to share their message with authenticity and boldness? If so, here's what I know about you. You believe that you have a strong message to share and you want to deliver that message to an assigned audience. You desire to share that message with authenticity and boldness. And you want to grow financially, spiritually, emotionally, and professionally. But you don't want to lay down your integrity to be successful, and you don't want to abandon your spiritual values just to make more money. You know that the source that empowers you to do what you do is God, and you desire to activate His best for you in every area of your life. If this hits home for you, I want to invite you to check out the Kingdom Confidence Club. The Kingdom Confidence Club is an online community where Christian authors, speakers, and coaches engage and grow together. Our work is solely inspired and influenced by God. Our goal is to help you grow professionally, spiritually, financially, and emotionally. And we want to walk with you throughout this process because we understand that when we engage, we grow. Visit kingdomconfidenceclub.com to learn more about how you can join this thriving community. Hey, what's going on? This is Coach Jesse again. We're back again with interview number 2 for today for the Speakers Stories series. Listen, I'm so excited about what God is doing on this platform. A few days ago, God began to show me how part of my assignment is to provide a platform, to build a platform for other authors, speakers, and coaches to share their messages with authenticity and boldness. And this is just part of that. God, last week, He told me to do it, put it out there. People responded. Here we are Monday, getting into it, right? And so, that's all God wants from us is our obedience. He's not looking for perfection. He's looking for your faith. Are you willing to be obedient to what He called you to do? Are you willing to stand up with authenticity and boldness and do what He called you to do? Well, that's a perfect segue into our next guest, Dr. Nadine Joseph Collins. Listen, Dr. Collins is an international speaker, a spiritual wellness coach, a women's leadership expert, a prayer counselor, an author, and she holds a PhD in educational administration with the emphasis on higher education. She has traveled over 70 countries and counting, inspiring and empowering women by combining proven strategies from the field of psychology about how our minds work with spiritual and biblical truths about our relationship with God and living the abundant life He designed for each of us. She's educated, she's anointed, and she's here with us today. Dr. Nadine, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks so much for having me, Jesse.
I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here with us. I appreciate your anointing, and I'm pretty sure that somebody that's going to be watching today is going to get something from your life that's going to inspire them to be who God has called them to be. So you're a speaker, you're an author, you've written 7 books and you traveled the world sharing your message and using your God-given talent. So talk about how you got into speaking. Like, where did all that start?
That's such an interesting question because the thing is, I never had it on my radar. I never thought in a million years that I would be doing this, that speaking would be my full-time job, that speaking would be the thing, that I'm called to do. But it's so interesting that when I was working on my PhD program, I had done just a few little sessions here and there, maybe speak for one thing here, but nothing major. And I never thought about it as something you're great at. I mean, I was good at academic presentations, good at making sessions or doing sessions for research conferences and so on. So I thought academia, of course, that's my thing. That's my comfort zone. And everything outside of that, I just did just a tad. But I remember my first official speaking, international speaking engagement was when I visited London after I had finished my PhD program and I went over there for a break. And even though I had taken up these small speaking engagements before, from time to time, this time it was kind of different. Someone reached out to me saying, I'm Nadine, I heard that you're in town and I would like you to speak for this program this weekend. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this must be a joke because it was not my area of studies. It wasn't my area of concentration. It wasn't anything that I was thinking, okay, this is something, Nadine, that you could actually do. And so I was really scared, but I felt compelled by God to say yes. I'm just giving an abridged version of that experience. And I said yes, even though I had no idea how I was going to begin, how I was going to greet the audience, what I was going to talk about, nothing. But I just felt compelled to say yes. I said yes. I did that, and that began a whole other journey in my life, because the following week I visited another audience, and I was there. I actually sang for the program, and then a lady came up to me afterwards and said, we would like you to sing for our program in October. And that was actually September. And I'm saying to her, well, I'm on my way to the US. I'm on vacation. She took my number, email address, and so on, and reached out to me and insisted, Nadine, God said it's your time to speak. And that lady just proved so many things for me, that when God is calling you to do something, whether you're ready or not, especially if you've committed yourself to saying, which is what I did before, that no matter what I study, whatever my PhD is in, my first thing would be to share God with people. And the next, I came to the US, and the following month, I was back in the UK doing a women's program for that weekend, and the rest is history.
Good stuff. What I love about this series is that we're not only talking about our the professional aspect of speaking, but we're sharing our stories. All of us have a story. Like when I was a kid, I wasn't the one to be out in front. I was very quiet, and so if I talked, it was because you asked me a direct question. Now my father is a pastor and a preacher, so he's always in the pulpit, but like that wasn't me. I was very observant. So the fact that I'm even here on this in front of this camera right now is amazing, because that's not who I was as a kid. So can you
Right.
talk about who are some of your influences, like 1 to 3 different influences, um, as you were becoming a speaker?
One of my favorite speakers is preacher TD Jakes. TD Jakes is like my number one. I really, really do love TD Jakes. For a while, I also listened to Priscilla Scherer from time to time, because she's a female, and ordinarily we would have found mostly, male speakers out there. And then I have a few close friends who are also like good preachers. I love to listen to them from time to time. Yeah.
Good. So you're inspired by preachers, people who have to do this every week, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yes. Yeah. That's my inspiration,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah, because I love the word, and so I'm really encouraged and inspired and motivated by these people. I've never really listened to any other
Yeah.
speaker. Like, I don't really do motivational speakers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really love people of the word, because even though you're doing the word informs for me what I do, and so that's why these are my favorite people.
Yeah. Part of what we do is informed by trials, some things that we've gone through. We're able to take those traumatic experiences, pull out those transformational principles, and then present them to the world in a way that they actually say, "Hey, that's valuable. Do you accept money for this?" Like they pay us to talk about our stuff. So talk about a trial, an epic trial that you had to overcome that allows you to stand flat-footed and do this work.
A trial. I mean, I think I've probably had my fair share of trials, and I'm thinking, as you're asking about it in the context of speaking trials, what would I have gone through that allowed me to be doing this? I do not focus a lot on my trials, because for me, everything that I go through is a learning experience. And what I could say in a very general sense is that I have never had everything set out or laid out for me. I've never had, for example, all the money that or actually have the money to do anything I ever wanted to do in life. But I've always say, like I say to my clients all the time, especially when I interact with women, and they say to me, I don't have the money to do this, I would say to them, I've never had money to do anything I wanted to do in life, but it has never prevented me from doing everything that I ever wanted to do in life, because I use a different currency. I use a currency of faith to get to where I want to be. So, one of the biggest obstacles I would have had to really step into my purpose and do what God wanted me to do throughout my life has always been, okay, there's not the funds available to do anything. that allowed me, for example, to not go to, or disallowed me to not go to college, for example, 9 years after I left high school. I went to college at the age of 26, 9 years after graduating on my 17th birthday, because that was not available. But when I went to school, it was not because the funds were available, but it was because during those 9 years, things began to shift in my head. And I began to have more faith, and I realized that I didn't need money. I needed faith to step out. And when I step out, God will come through and do what He has to do. And so that would be possibly one of the general obstacles that presents itself, but it has never hindered me, especially when I realized that it couldn't stop me. And if I had to be honest, since I was around 10, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And my grandmother said, all lawyers are liars. So I kind of like gave up on that dream. But in 2016, I went and I got my LSAT book. And I'm like, I'm going to do my LSAT. And this thing has always been in the back of my mind. And it's so ironic that one of the subjects I teach masters and PhD students right now is school organization and law. Now, I still had it in the back of my head that I want to study law, but I was having a convoy with a friend about 3 weeks ago, and I'm saying to her, man, I've looked into this thing. It's so expensive. I just probably would just give up on it. And she looked at me, and my middle name is Anna, and she said, Anna, since when money was your problem? And I sat there and I'm like, that's so true. I didn't allow it to stop me before, but now because preparing for the LSAT is so much, and maybe law school is so much, I'm thinking I'll just probably finally give up on something that has been with me for over 30 years. And another friend of mine, having the convoy for 2 nights ago, she says the same thing to me. But Anna, since when money is your problem? It's not. And so God had to remind me that I'm the same God that allowed you to experience everything that you never thought was possible for you. And now you're putting a limitation on me about you don't have the money to pursue law school,
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's some good eating right there. I love to say that. That is some good eating. The fact that the money wasn't the issue, it was faith and mindset. That was the issue. And so, and you
Yeah.
teach this in your coaching programs, and you have a live event called the Wild Women Empowerment Event. So can you talk more about what those events look like? What do they feel like? What kind of feedback have you gotten from your attendees?
Right. So that event is actually called Pregnant with Purpose.
Wow.
And I, yes. And I do it once a year in December. The goal, I've done it twice already, with the goal of helping women to step into the new year doing what it is they're supposed to do. And so, out of the Pregnant with Purpose, for example, in 2020, I was able to work with 19 women in the speaker mentorship program in 2021. And so these women are women who never thought, okay, I will take a stage, I'll ever share a story, I will ever become a public speaker. But now every single one of them are launching their speaking platforms. Some of them right now I'm working with in my elite book coaching program, helping them to publish their first books. And it's really just empowering women. So I say to them, you're pregnant with purpose, every single one of us, born with that divine purpose. And right now I am working on a book called The Pursuit of Purpose. It's a book helping Christian women to be able to really get there. And so, because you're pregnant, I say to them, you cannot tie down your belly. You cannot abort purpose. You need to give birth to it. And so, we need to nurture it until you give birth to it. And so, Pregnant with Purpose is really that event, that annual event that just helps women to be able to acknowledge first that I'm pregnant, and now begin to nurture purpose and give birth to it.
Yeah. Guys, if you are watching, I hope you're really listening to what Dr. Nadine is saying right now, because you've heard me say it over and over and over again. One of the ways that we help people is by using what God brought us through, right? And so she's a six-time author, she's a speaker, she's built her platform, she has a relationship with God. So guess what she's coaching? She's doing the same thing for other people. So we don't have to go and manufacture some type of coaching program. We don't have to manufacture or steal or creatively acquire somebody else's speech to create a
No.
platform. Everything that God has given you, every experience that you've gone through, you can use that to stand on stages. You can use that to write your books. You can use those experiences to develop and launch your coaching program. You don't have to create something fictitious in order for people to try to buy into you, right? And so you've heard her say it. You heard me say it, you heard other people say it. It has to be true if we're saying it. And here's the thing that I learned about God. Well, this is one thing that he taught me over the last couple of years. He was like, Jesse, everything that you have, everything that you want to do is in your house. You don't gotta
Mm-hmm.
go, go get somebody else's stuff. You don't gotta copy somebody else's stuff. You don't gotta covet somebody else's platform. Everything that I need you to do, you already have in your
Mm-hmm.
house. So double down on who I called you to be and watch what happens. I took that and I took it to heart. And because I took it to heart and I was obedient to that, we're on this Facebook Live call right now because this is an act of obedience. Everything that I needed to do what we're doing right now, guess what it was? It was in my house. I didn't have to go get anything new. So, Dr. Nadine, can you talk to a person? Like, really, I don't want to say inspire. I want you to coach somebody who's watching this right now who feel like they don't have enough. They don't have everything they need to make it happen. They're not smart enough. They don't have enough money. We already addressed that issue. They don't have enough education. They don't have enough influence. They don't have a platform. Talk to that person, that aspiring author, speaker, or coach who feels like God has called them to do this work, but they're allowing some false barrier to stop them from stepping out and being who God called them to be. What would you say to them?
I would say to them what I say to women all the time. Number one, as you highlighted so beautifully, every single one of us have been brought into the world for a specific purpose. So you're not here by chance. If you're listening, you need to know that it does not matter what the circumstances were around your birth, around your conception, you are here in the world for a specific purpose. And if you think about it, over 5.5 million people have already died with COVID, but you're still here. So the fact that you're still here, it's an indication that God still has plans for your life. You are still here for a reason. And what you're looking for, most times we go outside of ourselves because we have been socialized to believe that I need to go to school. Even though I'm an educator and I am a proponent of education, not going to school is not a barrier for you. Not having a degree is not a barrier for you to not be able to operate in your divine purpose, because the truth is you were born prenatally already destined for that specific purpose. So what you sometimes go outside to look for, you already have it. And so if you think about Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, when it says, I knew you even before you were conceived and I already appointed you. So what you've been brought here into the world to do, you have it. You may not always have the right tools, and that's the reason why we do coaching. That's the reason why we read. That's the reason why we look for people that are doing what we're doing successfully, not to copy them, but for us to learn stuff. But the truth is, what you brought in the world to do, it's already within you. And Jesse, the truth is, most people, it's not their fault that they don't know that. It's because we've not been socialized that way. We have formal education, and we have all of these theories and strategies and systems and things put in place that I personally believe in. As much as I love education, I believe in it and everything, but most of us we put in a box. And so sometimes we're searching in that box, and if what God is calling me to do is outside of that box, I feel as if this thing is not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And so folks need to, and that's what I'm sharing with you if you're listening right now, to understand that you have been brought here for a specific purpose, and your life will never be what it needs to be until you go in pursuit of what it is I've been brought here into the world to do. Why am I here? Because you have an impact to make that nobody else in the world can make it the way that you can make it, because you have that divine assignment on your life. It's yours. It's your calling. It's your purpose. It's your assignment, and nobody else can do it like you. And so just imagine how unique you are. And most of us go through life thinking I'm nobody, or I'm ordinary and I'm normal, or I'm not like this one or that one, when you don't need to be like anybody else, because you have such a great calling on your life, and you will only find it out when you are for me, how I work from the angle of prayer is being connected to God, who will reveal to you what that is. And you can still go to Him to ask Him for divine strategy. So you brought me here to do this. How am I going to do it? And the same way He downloads to Jesse and to me and to my clients and so many others who believe that He is the author of all of that good stuff, He will do the same thing for you.
Amen. Dr. Nadine, I know you got to go. I wish I can keep you on here for a little bit longer. I can talk to you all day about this stuff right here. So, if people want to reach out to you, they want to connect with you, how can they do that?
Yes, so you can connect with me on Facebook. I have a ministry page, Nadine Collins in Ministry, but you can connect with me by email, info@nadinecollins.com. You can check out my website, www.nadinecollins.com. You can Google my name. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. If you really like, if you're a woman listening and you really want to, you believe that you're being called to speak, that God has something for you to do, and you're not sure what your purpose is, because Jesse, what I focus on is helping women to uncover what their divine purpose is, and then we build success around it. That unique thing that you brought here to do, we need to know what that is, and then we can look at how we can position you to be effective in the area that God is calling you to do. And that's why what Jesse said, you don't need to photocopy anybody, because there is a path and a plan just for you, and that is what we want to uncover.
Amen. Dr. Nadine, thank you very much for your time. I truly appreciate it. You are a treasure, you are a jewel, and you are a breath of fresh air today. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate
Thanks for having me.
you. All right. All right. All right, guys, listen. This is what it's going to feel like over these next couple of weeks. Powerful people from different walks of life with different stories who are willing and able and capable of sharing their journey and what empowers them to do this work. I'm excited. I'm so excited to share this with you. And guess what? It's free because it's on Facebook, right? So it's free. So make sure you log in every Monday and every Wednesday for the month of February. We're going to be doing this. All right? We're going to be doing this work. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time. I truly appreciate you. I don't want you to forget about this either. Get published, get booked one day intensive. That's going to be March 26th. We're going to be doing that here in Metro Detroit area. If you are aspiring Christian author, speaker, or coach, and you want to learn how to publish your book, write and publish your book, and not only that, monetize it and get booked for speaking engagements in media and podcasts, you need to be in the room. Visit kingdomplatforms.com /1 day. Kingdomplatforms.com /1 day. The venue fits 50 people, but we're only taking 25 because of COVID. We want to make sure we adhere to the COVID policy. So we're only taking 25 people. 25 seats are available, and so I really appreciate it if you were to register for that as well. Remember that what you want to become depends on your willingness to become it. Have a great day.